Good afternoon, Stampers. It's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and I'm here today with a live demonstration showing you how to create these 3 fun projects using the Fable Friends stamp set from Stampin' Up. I'm also using some of the gingham paper, which is also in the Occasions catalog. This is the stamp set, and lots of cute sayings in here. Easter greetings, darling baby, happy spring. You could use this for a lot of occasions, and this actually reminds me of the storybooks that I read as a kid, the little golden books. So, hope you grab something to drink, a notepad or something to take some notes. If you don't have a notepad, don't worry. You can always hit replay later. And I appreciate you stopping by today. Just give me a second to get everything set up here, if you would. All right. So again, today we're going to create 3 fun projects. I tried to mix it up a little. This one says glad we're friends, happy spring. This one doesn't say anything, so it could be used for Easter or another occasion. And there they are. I wanted to welcome you all. I see a couple of you have already said hello. Hi ladies, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you sharing the video. So before we get started, I want to just give you a little insight on a class that RSVP and payment is ending today. So I need to have your RSVP and payment. I can send you an invoice. Some of you have already purchased the class, and I do appreciate that. This is a spring treat holder class. And you are going to get enough paper to create lots of these projects. I'm going to show you how to create all of them. So this one here comes up at the top. I have a little Reese's peanut butter egg in there, but you might be able to get a gift card holder. I haven't tested it out to see if that would fit or not. This one here is actually a box. And pretty good size gift will fit in there. In fact, I think a rolled up pair of socks would fit in there. So lots of treats would definitely fit in there. Whoops. This one here is just a little box, and you could get a couple Hershey Kisses or some other marshmallow bunnies or something in there. This one here is what we call a sour cream container, and you can kind of see why. And then also the Easter basket, or just a little spring basket. I think they're springy enough colors that they don't necessarily have to be for Easter. They can be for any spring, and thank goodness it's finally spring. I don't know about you all. I think that Sylvia told me, Sylvia, correct me if I'm wrong, that are you in the middle of winter there where you're at? Or summer, sorry, summer where you're at. So we're just about to go into the warm spell. I've shared this before. Have been in Florida the last 3 years, and this past year we were supposed to be home by spring. So the fall previous to that, I planted about 200 flower bulbs. Daffodils are one of my favorite flowers, so I planted a whole bunch of flower bulbs in the hopes to be able to see them all come up. And then we didn't get home from Florida in time, so they're coming up now, and I can't wait to see them and smell them. Hyacinths and daffodils are both one of my favorites, and the tulips too. So back to this class. $30 gets you a whole pack of the Gingham Gala paper. It comes in Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Grapefruit, Grapefruit Grove, Balmy Blue, and Lemon Lime Twist. You're also going to get a full spool of ribbon and tear and tape to put your projects together. And then I'm also going to punch a bunch of the daisies for you to use for your projects. The cost is $30 and $8 for priority shipping to get the package to you. If you are interested, you can either leave a comment here, or you can email me at stampitwithdebbie@gmail.com, and I would be happy to invoice you. And I'm just looking real quick. Sylvia is saying it's an autumn day. fall and spring are two of my favorite times of year. I'm not so fond of winter, and I don't like being super hot in the summertime. So fall and spring. Okay, back to today's class. These are the projects, and this one here is a little bunny basket. 2 little treat holders inside. Looks like a little pair of bunny pants. This one is a pop-up card, and it will stand on its own, and it also folds right up and goes into an envelope for you. This one here is a treat holder. I'll undo it so you can see inside. And then inside of this one, I have a Little Debbie snack cake. Wasn't it great that I created all these great snacks so we can have something to put in all of our projects? I wish I received some of the money from all of those sales of Little Debbie snack cakes. This one I made Glad We're Friends because I thought that it would be good just to give someone to say, hey, I like that thing that you did. So I'm not going to tie this back up. I think right now I'm actually just going to use a binder clip so that I don't take up time tying that back up. So there's the binder clip. All right, let's get started. I think we're going to start with this project here. And I'm just grabbing my cutter real quick. I wanted to cut this just to show you. So this here takes 2 pieces of 7 by 4. This is 8.5. So you just need it to be cut at 8. So I'm going to cut that up the side there. And then seven. And we're going to cut this in half at 4. And now we have our 2 pieces, 7 by 4. I am going to use my scoreboard to score this. I'm going to grab that and my stylus to be able to score. Again, these pieces are cut at 7 by 4. You're going to have this extra piece as a scrap, so if you were making 2 of them, you would have enough for a little extra piece. On the long end, you're going to score at 1 inch, 2.5, 4, and 5.5. Then you're going to turn it, and on the short end, which is the 4-inch end, you're going to score it at 1.5. Okay, and then the same thing for this one. Again, that's 1 inch, 2.5, 4, and 5.5, and that's all the scoring for this one. And now I need my paper snips. I am going to cut this bottom corner. I don't know if you can see, these are square, perfectly square. This one's a rectangle. We're going to cut that one right off. And we're going to cut that off of both of them. We'll do them both at the same time so we don't get confused. And then we're going to cut up at the bottom here on both of them. You are going to want to have a strong adhesive for your paper crafting projects. And so I'm going to use, just for the ease of getting this done, I'm using Fast Fuse. Fast Fuse is retired. They don't have it anymore. So what I would recommend is the Tombow multi-purpose glue or the tear and tape. So we're just going to fold on all of our score lines. And then we want to put adhesive right here, and then we're going to bring this piece over and just fold it down. So let me show you one more time. This little rectangle here, we're going to put adhesive on there, just bring it flat over and close it. So again, the multi-purpose, the liquid glue would work just fine. We're going to bring that over. We're going to do the same exact thing to this one because we're creating two boxes that are exactly the same. All right. Now we're going to, we don't need to tape every single one of these, but I always try to watch where my closure is in the back, and I want that to be the closure. So I would want this one to go in first. And then I probably should have put this down on the table here to put some adhesive. Flip this one over and this one over. So now we have a cute little box. We need to do the same thing for this one. Just establish what is your front and your back. And so that's going to be my back. And so these three pieces here, I can put some adhesive. So I'm just putting it on these flaps. It's kind of hard to see, but so the one flap is just going to go down with no adhesive at all because we don't want anything in our package to stick to that. So that's just going to go down. And then this one's going to go over the top and stick to that one. And then sometimes I even take my bone folder and just make sure that it's secured in there. And then I think I will use tear and tape for this part. We're going to attach these two boxes together. And so we just need to pull the backing off. Keep in mind what we want to be our backs of the box, and then just bring them together and make sure that you secure the tear and tape down inside. Okay, so that part's done. Now what we need to do is we need to have a couple pieces of designer paper. And since I made this lemon lime twist, I'm going to use the lemon limes twist Gingham Gala. So I need two pieces cut at 6 inches by 1/2 inch. And then I need 6 pieces cut into 1 1/4 by 2 3/8. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all of mine, and then I'll attach them all at the same time. You have to be careful when you do this because I've been making some projects. I love this Gingham Gala paper. It's just so springy. It makes me happy. And I accidentally put adhesive on the wrong side because I got too ahead of myself. So we're just going to go around and secure this on all 4 or all 6 sides. Okay, so the box is done. Now we need to work on this cute little bunny here, which is from the Fable Friends. And I'm going to grab a couple pieces of scrap paper. Whoops, I'm having trouble. Here we go. All right, I needed a piece of white. I'm also going to get a little piece of paper to stamp under, just to make sure that I don't stamp on my table here. So I'll stamp up the bunny right on there. And then I'm going to use my 2-inch punch. And I'm just going to try to get as much of the bunny as I can without cutting his ears off. And then I'm also going to use the Starburst punch. And that's going to be for the back side of it. And then still using my scrap paper, just grabbing a few of my blender pens. I'm going to color his coat in the light balmy blue. If you haven't heard me say it before, I love the blender pens. They just go on so smoothly, and if you miss a spot, you can easily blend it right in. If you want a shadow, you can use your blends to do that. I'm going to use the dark just to color the buttons, make them a little bit darker. And then I'm going to use the light Flirty Flamingo for inside the ears. And then the light Crumb Cake for coloring the bunny. Almost done here. Okay. Oh, I missed a little spot on his chin. There we go. Now you could, let's do it. Use the Flirty Flamingo to add just a little bit pink for his nose. And now I'll just take my adhesive and I'm going to attach this piece directly to that. And then I'm going to use a couple dimensionals on the back of the Starburst. And we're going to put that right on the front. Now we need to get these cute little suspenders. And again, that piece is cut 1/2 inch by 6 inches. You can get all of the pieces for this out of one 6-inch 6-inch by 6-inch piece of the Gingham Gala designer paper. I am going to use the liquid adhesive. You could use the tear and tape. I just like how this holds for this. You just have to hold that for just a second when you're using the liquid adhesive. And crisscross them. If you didn't want to crisscross them, you could bring them straight over. Oh, and I just stuck my finger in the glue on the front. So now I probably need to put a little more there. And just hold that down for a second, not too long. And then come to the back. And then the last thing that we want to do for this is I'm just going to add a couple pearls to the suspenders to look like buttons. And a couple in the back. We don't want to miss anything. And there we go. How sweet is that? So you could easily create these pretty quickly, put some little treats inside or a little gift inside with a little treat. So that's project number 1. And I actually have made this up in all the colors and it looks super cute in all of the colors. And I can't wait to be able to give it out to some people this spring. We'll go ahead and do this one next. So let me grab my supplies for that one. We will need our scoreboard for this one. Okay, the first thing, let's just go ahead and score. We are going to need a piece of paper that measures 10 3/4 by 5 1/2. And we are going to score this, and I have now lost my scoring tool. Here it is. On the short end, this is the short end, which is the 5 1/2 side, we are going to score at 1 1/4 and 4 1/4. And then we're going to turn it to the long side, which is the 10 3/4 side. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 4 3/4, 6, 9 1/2, and 10 1/4. Seems like a lot, but I'm going to show you the layout. I'll go real slow so you can see how everything is done. Okay, on these ends here, let me get up here so you can see, we're going to take, this is the little 1/2 inch score mark, and you have one at this end and one at this end. We're going to take these 2 rectangles off here at the end. And we're going to turn around and we're going to do it on the opposite end as well. And if you didn't get all of the dimensions and the measurements and the score lines, don't worry, you can always hit replay and watch it again, pause it if you have to. I do that sometimes too. Just pause it and write it down, or pause it and say, okay, just a minute, let me do that, and then move on to the next part. So the only other thing that we need to do is cut right here in the middle. We're going to cut up this score line to this score mark, and I like to cut a little rectangle out. It just makes the box go together a little better. We're going to turn it over and do the same exact thing on the other side. So up to that score line, up to the score line, cut a little bit of a triangle from the inside. That just cuts off that extra piece that we use to score and makes it fold up a little better. We're going to use our bone folder just to make sure that as we're putting everything together, it goes together smoothly and crisp and clean. This piece here on the end, this 1/2 inch score mark, is actually going to fold backwards. All right, we're all done with the bone folder. Now we need to again have a heavy adhesive. You can use tear and tape, or you can use fast fuse. Just to keep this video a little shorter, I'm going to go ahead and use some fast fuse. On these tabs, fold them in and put fast fuse right here. Then we're going to bring this edge up, and I like to just leave it right on the table so that I know it forms a perfect square, just in case something gets out of line. Okay, so now we need adhesive on these 2 parts. So you could run the Tombow multi-purpose, fold it over and kind of hold it, or you can run the tear and tape. Again, I'm just going to use my fast fuse just to save a little bit of time. The fast fuse will work if you have it. This is a product that Stampin' Up retired, and I just happen to have some left, so I'm going to use it up. I'm going to bring that side over and bring it in, and I like to go down inside just to make sure it's all secure. And again on that side, just reach down inside, it's all secure. So now you can see your box is kind of shaping up here, and I am going to go ahead and put my, this is a marshmallow cake. There's like a cookie here and marshmallow. It's delicious. I tell you all the time, I have to taste test them to make sure it's good to go for you, and this one's perfect. All right, I'm going to actually use a clip, and I wrote down the name of this, and you know I can't find it anywhere. These are in the catalog. They are, it's a library binder clip. So I'm just going to put this on here for now. Now you have a couple options. So this is the library binder clip. We also have these 2018, 2020 in color binder clips. And there is Grapefruit Grove in here. You could also use the Call Me Clover, would coordinate really well. This is not Daffodil Delight like what the paper is. This is the Pineapple Punch. But you could use one of the other colors and use the Pineapple Punch. So this would be a great way to close your box as well. Now we need a couple pieces of designer paper. And again, I'm using the same Gingham Gala, and I'm using Daffodil Delight this time. I have 2 pieces cut at 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. I have 2 pieces cut at 1 inch by 3 1/4, and I have 2 pieces cut at 2 3/4 by 5/8 of an inch. So I'll go over those one more time because there's quite a few here. 2 3/4 by 3 1/4, 2 3/4 by 5/8, and 1 inch by 3 1/4. So we just need to decide, do we want the small checkers or the big ones out? And I'm going to put the big ones out. So I'm going to make sure to only put adhesive on the small end. And that just goes right on the front. And then also on the back. Now we'll do these 2 pieces. And I did the big, so I'm going to flip that over. Stick that on the side there. And then I just wanted a little piece here just to make it maybe a little more completed. You wouldn't have to if you didn't want to, but I just thought that it completed the project a little more. So that piece goes there, and this one goes here. So now our box is pretty much completed. Now I'm going to grab a small piece of paper, and I had it and now I've lost it. I just need a piece of white cut at big enough to make our greeting, and I think I'm going to do this one again that says "Glad We're Friends." Let me grab the stamp set. And a block. And just a little piece of paper. And this one is cut at 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/2. And I'm going to use my Stays On ink. Ink that up. And I'm going to put the greeting, oh, I forgot to cut it. It needs to be 2 3/4. And I didn't cut it at 2 3/4. Let me cut that real quick. Otherwise it would run off the side. Okay. I'm going to put this right in the center. And then a little bit of adhesive here. And I want to keep it kind of down towards the bottom. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do, I don't know if you've seen these in the catalog, but they come in a group of 4. These little punches. And they're here in the catalog in the Happiness Blooms suite. Right down here, they're Bitty Blooms Punch Pack. And I'm going to use this flower here. And since this one is yellow, Daffodil Delight, I think I'm going to make some Grapefruit Grove flowers. So I have 3 of those. And I'm going to set those aside for just 1 minute here. I do need, again, my circle punch and my bunny rabbit, my 2-inch circle punch, and also my starburst punch. And I'm going to grab my bunny rabbit so I can stamp him out one more time. And I'll quickly color him in. Him or her. Coloring his shirt this time. I'm using the dark balmy blue for his shirt. You could use any of the coordinating colors I just realized I probably was a little bit out of camera there. I apologize. And now I'm going to use the crumb cake to color the bunny in. Another color that would look really cute would be the smoky slate. I think you would look cute in that. This reminds me of Peter Rabbit so much. All right, now we're gonna put our scrap aside. Attach this. We're gonna attach this piece to the front of our box with a couple dimensionals. And then, as I said, I have these 3 flowers, and I'm just going to use a couple glue dots. And attach those on here. And then the last one, I actually want to use a mini glue dot. I'm hoping one fits perfectly on the back of here. I think it will. Now if I can get the backing off. Yeah, perfect. And then put that right there, and of course we need some sparkle. So I'm going to do a couple rhinestones in the middle of the flower. And then because I used this binder clip on top, I'm actually going to grab a little piece of ribbon. Now if you were lucky enough and you got the paper or the ribbon from the catalog, I believe it's organdy ribbon, we could use that and put that right on top. If not, a white ribbon would look just perfectly fine. So I think I'm going to use this one since it coordinates with the paper so well. But again, I think the white, making a bow up there, would look perfectly fine too. And then let's just use a dimension or a glue dot and put it right there on that clip. And isn't that super cute? Let me get all this mess out of the way. And so, well, this one looked much cuter if I had it tied up, but there are the 2 different colors. And again, I'm intending to make these in all of the colors because I think that it looks so springy and beautiful. So I'll leave this here while I grab my supplies for the last project. And just to remind you that if you are to place an order of $30 or more through my online store, then I will send you the make and take kits, not the stamped images, but all of the card products for these projects today. So you have to place at least a $30 order, and we are running out of time, you guys, for Celebration. That ends on the 31st. So once the 31st gets here, you are no longer going to be able to get any of those free items. So if you're looking for something from the catalog, the Celebration catalog that you really want, go ahead and place a $50 order. You'll get the make and take kit for free, and you'll get to choose a free item. All right, let me move these aside, and I'll leave this here so you can see it. This is the last project. And let me get my supplies for this project here. We are going to need to use the Big Shot, but we'll go ahead and do some of the other work first. We're also going to need to use our scoreboard, but don't let that scare you. It's a pretty fast and easy project. All right, you are going to need 2 pieces of cardstock cut at 5 1/4 by 5 1/2. 5 1/4 by 5 1/2. Let's go ahead and do the scoring so we can get that out of the way. We are going to score at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inches. We're going to flip it around And again, 1/2 inch, 3/4. Same exact with this one. Make sure that you're getting the 5 1/4 going up and down, and the 5 1/2 is wide. So 1/2 inch and 3/4 inches. And that's it for scoring. Okay, so for this one, this is going to be my top piece, and you could choose any colors that you would like, but I wanted something to be kind of springy and just kind of happy, and so I chose these colors. We need to make a hole in the front, and so I am using my layering ovals, and I will go ahead and set my stuff aside. The big shot up, and we're going to put our circle not too far at the top, because we want, I'll bring this in, we want a little room for our greeting and for our flower, so we're going to leave just a little room. Make sure it's as good as you can, centered from side to side, and that is, I'm choosing 2 ovals. This is the largest of the 2. Go ahead and running that piece through, and I'll save that blue oval for later. And then I have a piece of yellow that I have cut. This is Daffodil Delight. I cut this at 3 by 4, and I'm going to put this oval right in the center of that. And hopefully I did this correctly. Sometimes something is in your mind so well, and then you go to put it together on camera and you forget exactly what you were trying to do. All right, now we do need to get our bone folder. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I do that, I'm going to stamp, just because it's going to be easiest to do right now. So I'm going to line up the blue over the white, and let me get my little goose here, and I'm going to ink her up with some Memento ink, because that's what we use when we're using our Stampin' Blends markers. And I'm just going to stamp her right in the middle here. There she is. And while we're stamping, let's just stamp our happy spring while we're at it. I have a piece of white cut at 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/2. Stamp that right on the end. So now our stamping is all done. And before we assemble, let's go ahead and color our card. Now, if you wouldn't like this, you can see that it went through a little bit. You could put another piece of Whisper White over that so that you don't see it. The Stampin' Blends markers do bleed through a little bit. So, as I said, if you didn't like that, you could do another piece on the inside or piece on the back side so that it didn't show through. I am using I decided this one I was going to try out the, I think I wanted my duck just a little bit lighter. So I'm going to use the Pineapple Punch, and let's see what that looks like. She might be a little too bright, but let's try it out. The other one that I used Daffodil Delight. So let's see if this one makes her just too bright. Alright, and I'm going to use the dark Daffodil Delight to color in her beak. I could have also used Mango Melody. I think that would be kind of nice. And then the Pumpkin Pie Dark to color the feet. And then the Balmy Blue, I'm going to use the dark. And I'm going to color in the pocket. I'm also going to color in her hat. What do you guys think of the Stampin' Blends? Do you own any? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Leave me an emoji. Let me know. Send me some love if you love them. A thumbs down if you don't love them, or an angry face. That's okay if you don't like them. Not everybody has to like them. I personally like them. And I like them better than the regular markers because I've said this a bunch of times, but I don't like when I color to leave lines. And these allow you to blend everything in so that it looks like you just colored perfectly. I should have had these when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time coloring things in and coloring over very smoothly so that it looked just right. All right, this piece is done. Done with our scrap paper now. Now we have a little folding to do. This piece, the blue, we're going to fold this part down. We want to use our bone folder to get a good line. And then the other piece is going to fold up. Let me show you one more time. So then you're going to get something that looks like this. This piece here, the furthest in score line, is going to go down. And then this piece is going to fold up. Now, with the white piece, it's going to go opposite. The first in line is going to come in, and then the back piece is going to go down. So one more time, fold in on the most innermost score line, and then fold it back for the last one. Now we have one more thing we need to do before we put all of this together. Remember this piece here? We're going to put this on the inside of our card. Oh, and I did it right. We want to put it on the inside of the card just so it shows through a little bit and gives us a little more color. And so I think the best way is just to, you could use tear and tape. You want to make sure that your adhesive isn't going to run beyond where this yellow piece is, because then your card will stick together when you mail it. You could also, let's just, for security, we'll put a few pieces of adhesive there, but now we want to turn it over and make sure we have it right exactly how we like it. And the liquid glue lets us do that. It lets us move it around a little. So when I think that it's good, I'm going to just secure it down. And then now we're ready to secure these two pieces. Again, you want a really good adhesive. You could use the liquid glue here. You could use tear and tape here. I'm going to just use my fast fuse for today. Something that's going to be strong because you want your card to hold together. And then just line those pieces up really well. And there's that side, and then this side here. All right, so then you are going to want to kind of force it down so that it's like you're putting it in the envelope. And I'm going to use my bone folder. It looks like I didn't get mine quite lined up at the top, so what I would do to fix this is I could just take my paper snips and trim off the white, or you can just leave it because nobody's really going to notice it, because ideally the card would stand up on its own this way and they're not really going to notice that it's off just a smidge. But if it matters to you, then you should cut it off. And then we can go ahead and put the Happy Spring piece on. And I'm going to put this down. I want to leave a little bit of the blue showing. And then for this flower here, I did use the daisy punch. And, oops, it's right here. A piece of the daisy gingham paper. And I'm just going to punch a few flowers so that I can stack them on top of each other. I'm also going to use a 1/2 inch circle punch for the center of the flower. And one thing that I like to do is just kind of make my flower look like the petals are coming in a little bit. You have to be very careful with your bone folder because I've done it before. If you pull too hard, you'll just pull your petal right off. Okay, so I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. First of all, to attach this in here. You could also use one of those great big, let's see if I have one. I have a gold one. Let's put that in there, see what that looks like. One of these. Just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And then I actually probably shouldn't have used the, I'm going to take that blue piece off. Okay, I'm going to take the blue piece off, just put the sparkle. But on the other one I had the blue piece, so if you like the look of that, or you could punch a piece of the glimmer paper, hook those two together, hold it just for a minute, and then you could either use a glue dot or you can use the liquid adhesive. Now when you put this on, you want to make sure that you're above the bottom part of your card, because if you're not, when the receiver stands it up, it won't stand up because the flowers are over too far. So those are the two pop-up cards for you. So what do you think? Do you guys like the projects? I'll bring them back in so you can see them real quick. Bring all of them in. And along with my host code for this week, you must use the host code if you want to receive the Make and Take projects. And again, if you missed out, just really quickly, today is the last day to get in on my spring treat holder class. It's $30 plus $8 shipping if you need for me to ship it. If you are local to me, you could pick it up and save on the $8. You're going to get a full pack of the gingham paper, a roll of the tear and tape, and a roll of ribbon, and you'll have enough supplies to make lots of the treat holders. I appreciate you stopping by today, and if you need any supplies for this project or any other project, you can visit my store at stampinwithdebbie.stampinup.net, and be sure and use this host code so that you get some free make and take projects for this week. We'll see you again next Wednesday, and I do appreciate you stopping by this week, and happy spring to you all. See you next week.